Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. From time alone in contemplation to finding the beauty in simple moments as observing a shadow made by the sun and the trees, the dance of creativity and the resins that come to cleanse us. How am I surrendering to accept this exact moment as it is, and in that, grasping the beauty it carries within? Yes, I've been changing, and I am deeply glad of it. I am learning how to look within while I learn how to show up in the world. There is so much beauty in finding ourselves in a spiritual journey, a journey to our hearts, our truths, or however we want to call it. But it can also be a trap. The trap of finding ourselves always seeking to heal ourselves, to get better, to work forth, to achieve a better version of ourselves, instead of reminding that that best version is the version we seeked 1, 10, 20 years ago. This year has taught me that the beauty is in learning how to accept moments as they are, and that includes accepting myself, not judging my slowness or fastness, and observing how harsh we can judge ourselves, learning how to bring more compassion and love to those spaces. 2024 was the year I gained back my health. It was also the year I spent almost 4 weeks bedridden. Some of those days were in diapers, and all of them not being able to do anything by myself. Those days taught me that my body was screaming, that it needed to hear my fearful parts, the versions of myself that live within me, and feel extremely scared of growing. This was the year that taught me I had to sit down with those fears and hear them out, kiss them, hug them, and let them know we are worthy, even when we're fearful, with all the broken parts that make us, that make me. Kintsugi is a Japanese art technique and concept in which broken pieces of pottery are repaired by mending them with gold on the cracks. The philosophy behind it speaks about how something broken can become beautiful by remembering that was part of the story of the object, and it can also be viewed as a metaphor of life. I am slowly landing in a day-to-day presence in which I am doing kintsugi with my own cracks and learning how to find acceptance and value in the impermanent, the imperfect, and the natural ways, our own natural rhythms, our own natural ways of learning how to accept where we find ourselves in the journey. Before I continue sharing today's video, I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Squarespace has been the virtual home for all things art Caro Arevalo online, my web shop, my art portfolio, email campaigns, member areas, and so much more since 2018, and I cannot recommend them enough. With Squarespace, you can sell art and products with an online store designed for you and your clients to love. Showcase your products and customize your listings with images, videos, reviews, related products, and so much more. Squarespace and I are partnering up to offer you a 2-week free trial, and once you're ready to launch, you can use the code Caro Arevalo to get 10% of your first purchase of a website or domain with them. It is the gloomiest day in the Hudson Valley, and I wanted to sit here for a bit. I've been coming out in this cold weather to just be outside for a little bit, but today I also wanted to bring my camera and just chat a little bit about how much I feel I've been changing. And I share this not because I want it to be about me, but rather because I feel it's so good to let ourselves change. And it's so interesting because sometimes we're going so fast and we're so preoccupied and living in this kind of like, I need to keep going because if I don't, just like the boat will sink. It's a saying we have in Spanish. I feel that a lot of us feel that we are in a boat that has a hole and there's water coming in because of the hole, and we have to keep going and going and going and pushing and pushing and pushing, because if we don't, then the boat will sink because of the hole. And I feel that's a feeling that has been very latent for me my whole life, but I also feel it's part of growing up and realizing that two things. One, you are in charge of your whole life and everything you do, and how much peace you bring to it, how much abundance you bring to it, how you live your life. But at the same time, I feel that there's this feeling that has been with me about just like there is a hole and I have to take the water out, because if I don't, then I'll sink. And this year has been so big for me because I've been thinking a lot about, what if there's no hole? What if the hole that I'm imagining is smaller than I think it is? And I've just been thinking a lot about how a lot of us are feeling so guilty to rest and feeling so guilty to just feel secure and embodied and present and full. This year, I've been doing Ayurveda, and I have so much to say about that. And I've also been getting my body ready for the next stage of my life. I've been doing a lot of changes regarding my candida. And at the same time, I've also been rerouting a lot in my work to really make it something that makes me feel alive. And I am actually right now reading my second book on the topic of Wabi-sabi, and I feel that all of these are different puzzle pieces that are showing me how to bring the beauty and how to really embrace life as it is today. And I feel that for the first time in a very long time, I am not really paying as much attention to that imaginary hole inside the boat, but rather on the view and seeing the landscape, and also just seeing how beautiful, whenever there is rain or water coming in through the hole of imperfections, it's still part of the beauty that we get to just share ourselves within those imperfections, and not only share ourselves, but also love ourselves fully as we are with all of those imperfections. And Wabi-sabi brings a lot of that energy of how the beauty is within the imperfect, within the unfinished, within the simple, within the natural. And I feel that this year I am really bringing that in with me. I've been debunking a lot of ideas that I've constructed about who I am and how I should show up and how my art should look, and all the things, like what does safety mean? And for me, for years, safety was something that I would only feel when I owned land, and I am rerouting that. How can I actually feel safe and content and full renting a house? Silly things like that I feel that at the end of the day, they're not so silly if they are just all the time within the back of our mind, paying a toll on us. And that's what I've been really paying attention to this year. And at least right now, I know this is not the experience that I've had with candida, which has been this long chronic thing that I've been dealing with my whole life. A lot of times it's been frustrating, it's felt never ending, it's felt horrible, it's physically felt horrible, and emotionally and mentally, and I felt there wouldn't be a way out. But what I'm focusing on right now is how it has showed me I need to slow down. And I feel that it would be beautiful for us to arrive at a moment in time, and I feel we navigate those glimpses when we feel like we actually permit ourselves the slowing and the being and the embracing in our wholeness. But at the same time, I've been thinking a lot about all the different things that are kind of pushing us or inviting us to bring forth the slowness. For me, it's been candida. For me, it's been choosing to do Ayurveda. For me, it's been embracing the winter time and seeing like how much it's really slowing and everything is dormant, and how nature has the cycles. And coming back to Wabi-sabi, which talks a lot about the importance to bring the outdoors inwards and bring ourselves outdoors as well. It's talking a lot about really paying attention to the changes within the transition of the seasons, and remembering that we carry those seasons within ourselves as well. And we cannot be in summer and spring in ourselves and in our creativity and in our work the whole year. So all of this to say that I feel that I am permitting myself to change just because I feel that I am becoming a more complete version of myself. And it's so wild to me. Maybe some of you also do videos or share a bit of your life on the internet. And I think it's so wild how these tools are also another way that is all the time testing us of how are we showing ourselves to the world and how are we showing up, you know? And this has been a beautiful year in the one I've been slowly trying to embrace more of who I am as a whole rather than who I am as the person that I thought I should be online, which has never been like, I've never put myself inside a lot of boxes in that area, but still there was a part of me that is like, you can only talk about these things, or you are talking too much about not art stuff. And I don't know, I feel I'm slowly coming to bring myself in that wholeness. And I'm not trying to say that I love keeping parts of my life private. Like you might see that I don't share too much about my relationship with my husband because I want us to have that be more of a private thing in our day-to-day life. And it didn't used to be that way when I started my channel or whatever. And I think it's beautiful to also see and test out things and see what works better for us, not only for those of us that make videos, but for all of us, and how much we share, how much we share with others about our lives. And I am rambling now, but I am just feeling very grateful for the fact that we as humans have the opportunity to change, and we can reinvent ourselves, and we can really retune ourselves and see like what is not feeling good inside ourselves in this moment. And that has been very big for me, just seeing like what isn't working, you know, like what isn't serving me, whether that is a routine or food or people or my own thought process. And just to close this rambling out, I've been thinking a lot about this idea of slowing. It's not only literally slowing down and being in bed or doing my abhyaga massages or doing my slow Ayurvedic routine, morning and night routines, but it's more than anything a change in my mindset of feeling that I don't have to be running all the time, which is something that I've been feeling for the longest time. I have to run because if I don't run, then I won't be enough. I have to run because if I don't run, then the world will just eat me alive. And it's this whole thing of like remembering that we are safe. And for me, coming outdoors has become one of those spaces, because for years I thought like, no, the outdoors are dangerous, because of course they're dangerous. They can be dangerous. There can be bears and animals, and even like a small tick can change your whole life. So I have just been thinking a lot about learning how to be safe outdoors. Camping has been one of the biggest things of I can sleep outdoors, and it's not only safe, but it's beautiful and it's nourishing. So anyways, I could keep rambling forever. This was my little TED Talk for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If this video is sparking anything in you, please feel free to share how you feel you're changing and how you are tapping into your heart. And if not, also inviting you to take a moment and just journal maybe after watching these. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Thank you for all your support throughout 2024. And for those of you that have been here since I started these by accident, thank you. Feel free to subscribe if you like what you see here. And I will see you next year. Bye, everybody.